I grew up being told I was being silly, stupid, acting up. Like, why won't you sit down, blah, 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 blah.
Control.
Yeah. It was like, go to school, get your education, get married, get a job, and like that's the end.
Because you've done some cool things, are you now funny in the eyes of your family?
I'm still dumb, but I just happen to make money from being dumb.
That's what you say to them. What's your job? Being dumb?
Just being dumb, yeah.
Hello, welcome back to the Pop-Up with Paul and Friends. You made it for another episode, or you're here for the first time. Regardless, I'm grateful you're here, listening, watching, subscribing, whatever you are doing. We're here having great conversations in my studio every week. The studio has been really cool because, like, it's an inviting place. We have good conversation. We have real conversations. I try to make it feel like there's not microphones and cameras, and I feel like it's more that way each week, especially this week. My next guest. I just met this guy a week ago. This is what's so cool about doing comedy and meeting cool comedians. And within 1 second of meeting this guy, we hit it off as dads. You know, you do comedy in LA and across the country, and you're not always connecting with other comics about fatherhood and relationships. And I don't know what my mood was the other night. We were doing a show together, and I just immediately showed up and started venting bits to him about marriage and about fatherhood. And he was like, I get it too. And I looked at him, I'm like, you have kids? You look like you're 22. But he's a father too, and we just hit it off. And I think it's refreshing when you meet people in comedy that are as authentic and real as this guy. And I have a good meter for that. I think from being raised where I'm raised, and also just being doing this for a long time, where you can just tell right away when someone's cool and real. And he totally was that. And I want to make sure I get his resume right because, first of all, you've probably seen him in commercials. This guy's done more commercials than anybody I know. So you recognize him. You'll be like, oh, that guy, I've seen that guy. He's done a lot of commercials. He's such a great actor. You've also seen him in Distancing Socially, Bandemic, Double Jack, Alone in the Apartment, The Goldberg, Snowfall, Harry Danger, The Larry D Show. Also, some of you might remember him when he got his start in the BET reality show College Hill, which put him on the map years ago. This guy's been in and around show business doing very cool things for a very long time, and I'm grateful to meet him in the stand-up scene that he's been a part of for a long time, to come in and chat. Guys, put your hands together for my new friend, Willie Macc. You got a face for TV. Wow.
Man, I'm working on it.
You know?
This industry is something. I've been close to having my own show at least 4 times out here. I had a meeting yesterday with a guy who might have me do like a small thing in Vegas for like 3 months with Cirque du Soleil. So they're doing like this variety show, and they're looking for a person to host this particular act. So it'd be like the acrobatics mixed in with like so they got a major headliner. He didn't tell me who it was, mixed in with some other magician variety acts, and I was recommended as a host. And so we'll see. I would love to do Vegas and just be out there.
Yeah.
It's 25 minutes up top and just keeping the show going. Stand-up is a very, very interesting thing that you can't understand the avenues that can come from it.
Correct.
When I was growing up, I grew up a preacher's kid. So I grew up being told I was being silly, stupid, acting up. Like, why won't you sit down, blah, 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 blah.
Control.
Yeah. It was like, go to school, get your education, get married, get a job, and like that's the end. Then I move out here and find out the goofier you are, the funnier you are, the more money you can make.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, shit. I've been a comedian my entire life, but I was just called dumb. So it's not that I was dumb. I was just funny, and it was just tooled the wrong way.
Yeah.
And it just was, so.
There's something about coming out here and discovering this is the town to do it, I think, here in New York, where you figure out who you are, what you want to say, and then you can get the opportunities. But to your point, the world has changed, because I did read up on you and your bio, and I know you said that you're working towards your own show. When I see you, I go, where is his sitcom? Where is his show?
I get asked, I don't mean to sound like that dude, but I get asked that a lot.
But I think like when things are supposed to happen, it already makes sense for us. I just met you, and I'm like, I can't wait to see your show.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about you already.
Hey, I appreciate it.
But I think that's also a testament to the work work you're putting in. You see that goal for yourself, you know. To touch on the development thing with like, and not too nitty gritty Hollywood, but like that is just the business. Like I've been in a similar boat. I've signed deals. It's so funny too. Like the excitement levels change over the years of being in this business, right? It's like, oh my gosh, this is it.
Yeah.
This is the moment. Everything's going to change. And then a week later, you're like, oh man, nothing changed.
Nothing changed.
But I bought some stuff.
Yeah. Hey, oh, yeah. I've had dates blocked off. Like, hey, Willie, block out this date to this day.
No.
You'll be going up and da-da-da. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm calling my dad. I'm calling all the prayer warriors at the church. Like, everybody pray on 3.
Has your family accepted, like, are you now not dumb because you've done some cool things? Are you now funny in the eyes of your family?
I'm still dumb, but I just happen to make money from being dumb.
That's what you say to them. What's your job, being dumb?
Just being dumb. Yeah. Yeah. And it feels good to now be at a point where I've made more money than, like, let's say my parents now and all of that. Mm-hmm. And now I'm able to be like, see there? It pays to be dumb. Yeah. But it doesn't feel like this anymore because parents, something happens when they get older that they get softer.
Yeah.
Like my parents have gotten softer. Like they don't remember spankings. They don't. I'm like, yeah, Ma, you made me and my brothers walk. Because when me and my brothers argued, let's say we was riding in the car, and we was arguing, fighting, playing, whatever. She like, stop, and we didn't stop. She would make us get out the car, and she would tie like a string around us and make us walk home to do like some unity stuff. And we was telling like, you made us walk home, and we're from the country, so it was dark. There was no street lights or nothing. We had coyotes and deer and everything running around back there. So I like, yeah, you did that. Like, I never done that. I'm like, you just what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel the same way because I have, my parents are grandparents now. I know you know this too. They're softer on my kids. They're different with my kids. I'm like, yo, you were so much harder on me about that. Like, yeah, but I'm older. I'm a grandchild. I'm a grandkid.
Yeah.
Grandparent now.
My dad said, because I said the same thing to them. And I was like, yeah, but Malcolm. Yeah. They was like, yeah, we found out that didn't work. So
look at you. You're still dumb.
Yeah, you're still dumb.
So we're trying to make your kids undumb. And you're like, but I'm paying for my kids with the dumbness. Hello. I do want to take a moment with you. I want to talk about your career and get to know you better because we just met. But I do want to take a moment as dads. When we just met like a week ago. So what a cool guy you are for showing up too to do the pod. I just hit it off with you immediately. I was like, this guy's real. I like this. And we talked about dad and marriage, like within seconds of meeting. It was like, oh, here we're just, I don't know. I was in a mood, I think, too.
Yeah.
Or I don't know what it was. We were about to do a show together. But let's take a moment. Like, what's bothering you? Your kids are grown. I thought you were your son's age when I met you, first of all.
Man.
What's bothering you as a dad today? That's what I want to hear today.
How lazy they are. Like, I actually had this conversation with my son. I was like, when I was your age, I moved out of the state, out of my parents' place. You moved in with me. I'm like, you have so many avenues for money. Y'all can do Uber Eats, y'all can do Instacart, you could do. I'm like, back in the day when I had to pay child support, I'm telling them all of this. I'm like, I used to have to do clinical trials. I don't know if you've ever done a clinical trial or know what they are. It's when anytime you see like a medical ad or a pharmaceutical ad and it says, this might cause da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I was the one that tested the stuff out before it went to market.
You're talking medicine, like pills?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
I did spinal taps.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because what they would do, like there was like these clinical trials where it'd be like 14 days in the hospital. And you would take this like Alzheimer's drug, and they wanted to see how much of the drug went into your brain. So you would take the drug, and then they would do a spinal tap, and they would drain your back fluids, and they would see how much of the drug actually went into the fluids.
Oh my God.
And if you had headaches, if you was nausea, you had to write down everything every day for 14 days, and then they send you out on your way, and you get $6,300. I'm like, I had to do this, Malcolm.
Yeah.
To just not only stay out here in California in a place where I have no family, but also to make sure that your mom had money. Yeah. And you're telling me you won't go out there and do Instacart? So he goes and do Instacart, right? I finally convinced him. He's like, cool, Dad, I'm going to do Instacart. Day one, day one of him doing Instacart, downtown LA where I live, he's on his e-bike. He gets hit by a car.
Oh, no.
I rush over there. He did. I got hit by a car. I rush over there. I got to take him to the hospital. All these months of me getting on him for getting a job. I'm like, bro.
Now you're losing money with a hospital bill.
Now I'm losing even more money.
Oh, my gosh. That's ridiculous.
This is the type of stuff that frustrates me.
Yeah.
Because he wants to hustle. He's like, he wants to do music. I'm like, I want to just do stand-up.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been blessed now to be in a position where I can only do stand-up.
Yeah.
But it wasn't always this.
Right.
So I think that's probably one of the hardest things. But that's also partially on me. Because I was such a young dad. For those that don't know, my son will be 21 in a couple months. But
wow.
Because I was such a young dad, I raised him like I wanted to be raised as a teenager. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't as hard on him. I couldn't think at 18, 17 years old to spank a kid.
Yeah.
Like I'm not thinking while I'm trying to do my own schoolwork.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine that. You're like, hey, I'm going to treat you. I'm going to be cool with you because I wanted this for me. And you're close enough to that time. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, I remember this 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah. Whatever, however long. And the math is a little off, but I can't believe your son is that old. When you see you, you go, this guy.
Taller than me and everything.
Wow.
He's bolder than me. But there's also something cool about him that I wish I had. Which, besides me being a cool dad, is just like he has this fearlessness of him because since I honed his skills, and not honed his skills, but like I was, whatever he wanted to do, I was there for it. Where I was like, hey, Dad, I want to do this. He's like, no. My dad was like, either go to the Army or go to junior college and then go to college and get a job.
Nice.
I'm like, but I don't feel like that's not me. I feel like I need to be doing something else. And he's like, no. Where he's like, I want to do music. So I'm like buying him studio equipment. I'm buying this. And I'm like, hey, we need to get you a publishing. So I'm introducing him. I introduced him to Anderson .Paak's old manager. Cool. And just, I'm making help. Yeah. I'm just trying to help. So because of that, he has more of a fearlessness in him, and it's like, all right, I'm going for this.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. It's so funny though, generationally with parenting, because I think the same thing. Like, you want to kind of do it differently than your parents. Take whatever they did that worked for you, and then do that. But then, like, I never know where the line is. Am I too old school about this? Should I not get the bat? I don't hit my kids with bats, but you know what I mean. Like, where's the line with how old school I am? Am I too new school? Are we giving them too much? It's like a weird time to parent. Also, with your son's work stuff, I think it's optics for kids of this generation. No kids want to feel like they are doing things that are humbling. They want to be like, hey, if he wants to do music, that's great. But a lot of kids want to appear to be doing the music and don't want to do the crappy jobs that help you get there. It's like there's no A, B, C, D anymore. I think kids just think we're going A to D like that because I want my Instagram to look like I'm killing it. I don't want to go work a day job. I'm above that. I'm not saying your son thinks that, but I do think kids think it's like a quicker track. Yeah. Where our generation, we may be similar ages, where it takes a long time. You got to work 100 different jobs, and it doesn't. Kids now, I think, feel like it's a forever thing. Like, oh, I took this day job. I'm going to be working at this ice cream store forever now. I'm never going to do my music career. And it's like, no, you make the money to buy the music stuff or to help with the music stuff. I do feel that way. Like, it's kind of like one track minded a little.
Well, the thing is, we didn't grow up with social media.
Yeah.
So we didn't necessarily have these optics except for the people that we saw on TV. So I didn't see stand-up until later on in life. Like, I knew of it and, whatever, but I was really sheltered. So we didn't have cable. With the movies, and we had one TV in the house. So it wasn't like turn on this and whatever. And so it wasn't till I got older, the first comedian I saw was Russell Peters. And I was like, oh, that's fun. I could do something. I feel like I could do something like that. But it never dawned on me that this could be something. Now, on TikTok and social media, the way that they are showing some of these people making money so quickly and so easily and so young, it's ridiculous. I stay in a luxury apartment downtown, and half the tenants are just TikTokers and people who look like they just got out of high school and they're making double six digits and just like I remember walking down. I don't really know a lot of them. My son saw one of them when he first moved in and was like, "Oh snap, that's such and such." I was like, "Who?" And then he shows me and was like, "Oh," and then it shows this kid just holding like this stack of just hundreds and. Yeah, I did this off of a YouTube video. You post one YouTube video, it gets 20 million views, and it's like $30,000. Wow. And it's like, dang it.
Yeah, it is a different time to make money in what we do. I also think like it's a different time for kids to see how kids make money. Like you're saying, you see it differently. And it is possible. I'm not trying to knock it. It is possible. Yeah. Some kids can go out there and do great. I just also want my kids, if we're talking parenthood, I want them to learn the value of the dollar, to learn hard work. I just save up to get everything I ever had growing up, my car, my computer, whatever it was. I was DJing. I had to do everything. Now I'm worried. I'm raising her in L.A. She goes and asks if the pool's heated. She's 5, second rate at someone's house. So I have that fear being here. I don't know if it's worse in L.A. or if it's in my mind that it's worse or more. But there is a lot of kids making money and parents making money and helping their kids here. I don't know.
It's an interesting balance. I like the idea of raising a kid in LA, but I wish it had some Midwest East Coast values. Like LA exposes you to a lot, sometimes way too young because you're kid stars and you're whatever. Like I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this. I was dating a chick a while ago whose ex-husband is like a huge NBA star.
Ooh, that must have been tough.
Yeah.
No, that's tough. And I can relate to that, but keep going. Keep going.
And so when my son first moved here, she was like, "Hey, bring Malcolm to my daughter's birthday party." I'm like, "All right, cool. Where's it going to be at?" And it's like, we rented a yacht. Now, my son just moved here from Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. And his first week out here, he's on a yacht with, I'm not going to say the name, but just know that he was one of the people that I looked up to playing basketball. And I was like, I couldn't even say hi to him. And my son's hanging out with him. And I'm like,
That's tough. Wait, how did you? I wouldn't get over that if I was dating her. I wouldn't be able to get past that. It must have been tough. I don't want to.
I bring it up to her all the time.
It must have been a tough little by the way, your ex is my hero.
I tell her all the time. Like I'll see her and I'm like, can you get his autograph for?
There's also a cool flex on the other side of it. It's like, I'm the rebound. I'm the rebound.
I'm the rebound.
Hey! Get that rebound, man.
Yeah, that's funny. I'm taking this off. I think I'm sweating.
Sorry, we are in this time of day. It's the hottest time of day in the valley.
The valley.
So you tell me if you get too hot. We'll take a break. We'll throw some water on you.
I'm letting everybody know that I am wiping my head with my cardigan, so y'all seeing.
I've never seen you out of the cardigan. You famously wear cardigans on stage.
I have maybe 40 different cardigans.
You wear it well. You got to do a cardigan ad. Have you done a cardigan ad?
No, I've never done a cardigan ad.
You got to be in the cardigan spot, dude.
I love a good cardigan. I think it's the idea. Okay, now this could rub some people the wrong way. My idea for stand-up is like I watched a few comedians and I wanted to embody, be a mixture of a few different folks. So I said I want to be a millennial version of, now take the negative side out of it, Bill Cosby. He's a storyteller. He's really comfortable. When you see him doing his stand-up, he's usually sitting down, talking to the audience, and just is very connecting. And the thing about Bill Cosby was also he was America's dad at one point. He was the people, especially in the black community, that black kids looked up to that didn't have a father.
Sure.
And so I was like, him and then Bernie Mac. That's where I got Mac from in my name. I met Bernie Mac on the Bernie Mac show in like 2000, I think 2007, 6, 7, one of those. I was talking to Kalita Smith, who played Bernie Mac's wife in the Bernie Mac show. And she was like, where are you from? Because I used to have a really big afro back in the day. And she's like, you look really country. And I was like, oh, I'm from St. Louis. She's like, oh, my assistant's from St. Louis. So she brings over her assistant. And as we're all talking, Bernie Mac comes out and he's like, who's this melted milk dude y'all talking to? And he was one of the coolest people that I ever met. And I was like, whoever this dude is, I'm going to start studying him. And so I studied the way that he got his show. So he famously has this joke about his three kids, and he was like, it was the whole milk and cookies bit that he did on the Kings of Comedy. And then I watched his documentary, and I found out that story belonged to somebody else. And Bernie Mac asked, it was like his friend's story. And Bernie was like, can I take that story and take that up on stage? And his friend was like, God, I don't do stand-up. I don't care. So he famously got his TV show based off of that bit that he got from his friend. And then I found out his real name is Bernard McCullen, and my real name is William McMiller. So I was like, we can change our names? Cool. So I ended up changing it to Mac, added an extra C in honor of Bernie Mac.
Nice.
And so he was like my inspiration. So I was like, how can I bring these two cultures and these two people together in today's time?
Right.
Because I was listening to Steve Harvey do an interview recently, and someone was like, when you gonna do stand up again, Steve? He was like, when I'm done with the TV world. He's like, because the stuff that I gotta say will get me canceled. He was like, I can't say what I was able to say before. And like even when you listen to some of these older comedians, bitch, you like, ooh, that wouldn't have flown.
Right.
If they was in our time. Like they did an interview with Eddie Murphy, and Eddie Murphy said he rewatched some of his stuff and was like, ugh.
Yeah.
I said that.
Yeah.
So now we're in a world where everything that we say can and will be used against us.
Yeah.
So how do we find this balance of what we want to really say and who we really, really are versus, and also not be canceled because somebody takes offense to a joke? And people can be offended for other people in this world.
Oh, totally. That's what happens all the time with comedy now. Like, they'll people take on other races and be like, I'm offended for that race.
Yeah.
But I'm not that race, but I feel it. Let's cancel you because of that. Trust me, I get it. I also think as comedians, I love talking about this because it is the time. Like, I love what you're saying about defining how you want to be a stand-up, because we get the opportunity to figure that out. I also think you are living in this time. You're not coming in here being old school and talking about, you're a modern dad doing a modern life. So we're going to joke about the things that apply now. Social media, all this stuff, right? So you already are that bridge just by our ages and what we're doing. The other thing that you said I really think is interesting is how valuable our words are. Like, I've only been doing it a few years, but I'm so inspired by what you're saying. Like, literally, we could think it's dumb or funny. Right now together, we come up with something. I'm going to go try that, right? I'm going to go try that Thursday. And then you could develop it, and now it's a 5-minute story. That 5-minute story might get you your show. Like, it's kind of crazy. And not that we're just trying to do this to get shows, but the vehicle of stand-up is still there.
Yep.
And I just love the allure of that. It's like, what's going to happen next? Maybe we'll do something together. Maybe we'll do this show, and then someone sees this. I love, because I do think my idols are similar to all these old greats that had these opportunities because they were just doing the stuff. So I'm curious about why you started stand-up, and it strikes me as like, it's a ticket, but you're also so good at it and you're funny. It's just like a natural thing for you.
Yeah.
But some people go, I'm going to do stand-up, I'm going to get my show, I'm going to stop doing stand-up. I mean, there's famously Eddie Murphy, so many people who just kind of were like, I got there. Is your goal to keep rocking with stand-up forever, or do you find yourself developing to a point of wanting to maybe do something else, movies, TV, and beyond?
I want to do movies, TV, and beyond, but stand-up will always be there. Stand-up will be my baby forever. I just get it.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes I'm at a point at stand-up where I just understand how to do it. And I've been doing stand-up since 2009. And maybe like 2 years ago, I found my voice. About 2-3 years ago, I found my voice. And then this year, really after my daughter passed away in March, I found that dark side of comedy where I'm like, fuck it. And once the fuck it part came in, it really crafted who I am and what I've become, because I'm not worried about what people think of my stand-up or what people think of my voice, because as comedians, and not all of us, but a lot of us are, like I said, we have this concern of what people say and what people think. Like, you can't tell me nothing right now.
Yeah.
After this situation's happened to me, I don't like your bitch, die. Like, that's how I feel sometimes deep down. I won't say that, but deep down, I'm like, I do not care. Here's how I feel. This is what I'm thinking. Let's just have some fun. Like when we did that second show with Joanne's show, and I'm talking to Susie's sitcom. I'm talking to Carol, and I'm like, I'm just having fun at this point.
Yep.
And it just happens to translate into humor and a personality, and it's something that people now want to come see and be a part of.
Totally.
So
I see that you're so genuine and authentic up there, and you look so comfortable and like you're having a good time. Mm-hmm. Also, I did not know about your loss. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
I never talk about this, but I completely relate to what you went through, in that I have an effort mechanism that went off a couple years ago as well. We lost our daughter stillborn at 8.5 months pregnant, stillborn baby.
Yeah, sorry.
So I went through that loss. So this is interesting. We're touching. I didn't even know this about you.
Yeah.
But you can understand. All grief is different. Grief is horrible, and everyone deals with it differently. But I do talk about this with my close friends and family about it did unlock something for me in stand-up. It's almost like life is too short to care and sweat things that don't matter. And there's a liberation. It's weird because I feel liberated. I'm not fully there yet. I've only been doing stand-up 4 or 5 years, but there's a liberation in my comedy and my personality. Some of my family goes, "You've gotten you're real aggressive." I'm just bluntly honest, because why wouldn't I be? This life is short. Why would I sugarcoat how I feel and then build a resentment for 2 months when I've been through this crazy grief?
Yeah.
And I think grief is a kind of turning point for a lot of people, and it was for me. So I didn't know you went through that, but I could just tell you, as another dad who has my own loss, it did change my personality, and I would say it changed me for the better as a comedian, because I'm kind of like, I'm going to figure out who I am, and you're going to like it or you're not. And I'm not going to, like, I used to care. I used to be so like, did I please that person? Did I not? I hope I could do this. Do you feel like, because what you're describing, I've never related more to another dad comedian where it's like exactly that.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, F it. I literally F it. Well, what's the point? I'm going to make people laugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
People care. If people care about the wrong things.
Yeah.
People, there's like, when I watch all these Karen videos online and they're just screaming on planes, and then they got to do all these it's just like, what is wrong with y'all?
Yeah.
What are y'all so angry about?
Yeah.
All the time?
Yeah.
Are you honking at? I get some honks while you're driving, but I'm like people be like, Willie, honk at that person. I'm like, nah, why? I'm like, nothing matters.
Yeah.
And because of I don't know if it's good, maybe I've numbed myself out to a lot of things, but it is an honesty thing where it's like, I'm just being honest. I'm tired. No, I've been saying no a lot more, and it feels amazing.
Yeah, it comes from this place, though, of like, if you can go through such a tragedy and you see, it just is a perspective leveler. And I do think perspective is important for everybody, but I haven't lost that perspective since that event for me, where it's like, oh, wait, it's still right there. Drop of it. You brought that up, like, yep, it's right there. And I'm human. I'm gonna flare up. Obviously, I'm gonna have little things. You know, I'm still married, so I'm with a wife all the time. Things pop up in my human nature, but we even talk about our daughter. We go, hey, let's level this perspective.
Yeah.
Rosie perspective. That was her name. This is what life is about, right? Like, let's just not sweat the dumb stuff.
One of the things that helped me get through my grief was two things. One, so my daughter was 17. She had fibromyalgia. She had lupus, and she had some autoimmune disease that the doctors couldn't figure out. So when she passed away, the first, few weeks, it was just, I just couldn't stop crying. I still cry every once in a while, but at this point, I was all the time. But then I was like, she's not in pain anymore. She's not going through what she'd been going. She was in a walker. She lost her hair. And I was like, she gotta be miserable. Hell, I get it. I get you wanting to get out of here, and you was able to. Somebody's still living in pain every day. I've had toothaches where I wanted to die.
Yeah.
I've had surgeries and then wake up from the surgery. I'm like, I couldn't imagine that being a everyday thing, every step, and blah, 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 blah. So that woke me up to a point. And then I said to myself, how dare I think life shouldn't happen to me? There's people that go through this stuff every day.
Yeah.
Guess what? My number was called. My number got pulled. You see the stuff in Maui. You see the stuff that happens overseas. Like, my mind is blown by this war in Ukraine and Russia. It's like, what's happening over there?
Yeah.
And and the news is becoming more graphic. So you're seeing like the actual bodies, and you're seeing actual, and I'm over here like, damn.
Yeah.
And this happens to me. It was my turn. It sucks. I hate that it happened. I miss her all the time. I have a lot of regrets as a father, which makes me softer on my son sometimes because there were so many things I told her that I put off with her that I said, wait till daddy gets another commercial. Wait till once I get this TV show, baby girl, we gonna live it up.
Yeah.
And I had the money to do it anyways, but I always wanted more money to really secure the bag.
Sure.
And then boom, and I'm like, I didn't do any of the stuff that I promised her that I was gonna do.
Yeah.
So now, like, the perspective, I'm like, all right, what's everything that I wanted to do? I wanted to travel more. So I'm going to travel more because I was always what they call an L.A. comedian. Because I wanted to just be in L.A. because I make more money in L.A. I do a lot of commercials. That's my bread and butter. So I'm like, I'm just going to stay in L.A. And I'll be the man in all the clubs and blah, 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 blah. So now I'm like, all right, I never performed in New York. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go perform in New York. So I'm performing in New York for the first time on September 21st.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's my city, man. That's great.
Yeah.
Congrats.
That's where, did you start stand-up in New York?
There. Yeah. Well, where are you performing?
I got to look it up. It's this guy. His name is Vic.
Old Tony Vicky's? No, I'm kidding.
So I'm doing somebody I just reached out to.
That's great, man. That's great.
There.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, though, and I love this point about getting through grief and perspective, is like, live the life you want to live, and also you carry that with you, and it constitutes the decisions we make, right? And I think, as weird as it sounds, it's a good thing for our lives to have that fresh perspective on how we make decisions, especially with family, especially with career, making money, whatever it might be. Like, it's an effort mentality that I haven't met too many people that are on that track, because we get stuck in the kind of BS of the peripheral stuff. That's why I think I knew you were real, but you're very real. You're real, which I think matters. I think it matters also for the success you're going to continue to have, because it's like, people want authenticity. People want you to be real. And also, life is short. Why would we not be ourselves and figure out how we're going to make people laugh? And what do we want to teach our kids, right? Be yourself and follow your dreams.
Right.
Like, not cringe and try and do something that your parents want you to do or whatever else. So I think you're a living testament to that after going through that. I think that's amazing, man. I had no idea.
Yeah. I mean, like, as I come up with a quote, life be life. I don't know if I came up with it. I'm sure somebody else has said it before, but that's the only way. That's the best way that I can describe anything. Boom, this happened. Life be life.
Yeah.
Oh man, such and such is pregnant. Damn. Life be life.
Yeah.
We out here. Greg is working the boards. We over here doing this. Life be fucking life.
We be sweating in the garage.
Yeah.
I love that. Isn't it hard too? Like, I find, since this kind of moment for me, it's sometimes really hard for me to see people sweat really, in my mind, really like not important, insignificant things. Like I don't have a lot of compassion anymore for petty. I'm mad about this thing and I just go, hey, that's really not, especially people who don't have kids. I have such a hard. Is this bad? Like I have such a hard time. People who don't have kids telling me how bad their life is because they couldn't get their dog to sit or whatever.
Them.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I hate.
See,
them.
we can be honest people. This is why we're honest comedians. We hate you. Get real problems.
Yeah. One of the things that I'm eventually I'm gonna write about my daughter and just the grief and all of that. But the people that had things that they compared now I understand everybody, they're probably relating to the grief part, but my comedian brain, just my brain, sees so many other things. Like somebody told me like, oh man, I'm sorry that happened, Willie, blah 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 blah. I know how you feel. I lost my dog. Like I'm like, bitch,
oh God,
I hate you.
Yeah, no.
I hate you. Or people that told me they've lost like their grandparent. And that's which is sad. I'm like, how old was your grandparent? Oh, they were 95. They were supposed to die.
They were on their way. Yeah,
they were on their way.
95 is a little different.
The average is 80.
Yeah, like, they did great. They surpassed the odds. You know what it is about grief, which I know you know, is people don't know what to say when it's that hard, when it's that bad of a loss. People don't know. They don't look at you and they don't know what to say. And then they say dumb things, thinking almost like fix their own insecurity. It's not about us who lost things. It's about, or people, it's about them just like filling the air.
Yeah.
Like, oh, my dog died. It's like, what? Don't just give me a hug.
Fish sticks. Like, what the fuck?
Just give me a hug and get out of here. You know what I mean? Like, what
you
the
see
hell?
people's mouths about to fix to say something stupid.
I know.
It's cool.
I used to be that. I don't know if I used to be that way too, where I would I would say something first because I knew people would get real awkward around loss too, which is funny to me in a way because we all have to deal with it. It's like. It's such a weird, we kind of grow up, and I know you grew up in the church, I grew up Catholic, we kind of grow up with this weird sort of like fear and non-talking about this thing that we all have to deal with.
Yeah.
Right? Like not to get so deep with you, but I'm just following the combo.
Yeah.
Like why can't we just be honest and talk about it and then like not make it a weird thing, you know?
People don't know, like you said, people don't know what to do. I know I can get awkward sometimes when people say something that's super deep. I resort to humor, but I have like a dark sense of humor. Someone's like, oh, I lost, my grandma died, and I'd be like, well, better them than you. Like I'll say something stupid that. Like, well, you know, right. You're gonna have to go one day.
What you should have seen the other guy? she died.
It's so stupid. But it's one of those things. It's just like just say what's on your mind. Just end of the day. All I know is all I got right now is right here, now.
Exactly.
Right here with this conversation.
That's it.
It's hard to think 5-10 years down the road now.
Yeah.
When you just don't know.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And I think that's a really fresh perspective for our careers and our lives and our relationships, you know, because it's a not to be self-righteous, like, rah, I got it all figured out. I don't, but I think it helps me get quicker to like what I need to do for my stuff.
Yeah.
Here's where I'm at. Here's where you're at. Let's talk. Like, I'm so much more transparent. Greg knows. Everybody, all my friends know. Like, I'm from New York and New Jersey, so like we're already that way. But I think that since this event, it's that leveler, man. It's like, here's what's really up, you know? Let's just, and I don't understand why we can't all be this way.
What's your goal in all of this?
I think we have similar goals. I want to be on your show. I want to play the Italian guy on your show.
Yeah.
That's one of them now. I just come in and go, hey, Willie, what are you doing over there? I don't act as much as you, but I've always loved interviewing. So I've been interviewing for a long time. I think having a talk show that gets bigger, like whether it's this or network or beyond, and then touring and selling tickets and making people laugh. I mean, stand-up for me has become the new goal. I've always been a TV host. I kind of now morphed to like TV hosting's great, but I'd much rather be a working comedian. I think like I've always been a comedy host. Now I'm like I'm a stand-up comic, and that change happened when I moved here. So but I'm sure you can relate too because you've done a bunch of things in your career that shift is also important. Like, no, we're stand-ups. We do this for a living. Whatever scraps I might be making here and there as I'm new at it, I'm doing it for a living. I used to just do it for like peripherally on the side. Like, I could be funny on stage here and there. Now I'm like a working comic, and it's in my mind, it's a business now as much as it's fun. But I'm trying to make it more of a business, which means I need listeners and views and fans and all that. It's daunting too, you know?
It's very daunting. It's a different world. It's a different world because people want us to do most of the work.
Totally.
Like back in the 80s and 90s, how did people promote shows back then? Like now they were like I had a promoter get on me like, can you make this a post on your page? I'm like, I'll do it as a story. And they're like, no, can you make it an actual post? I'm like, you're not even paying me for the show.
Yeah, that is value. Yeah.
I'm not just posting this in my timeline.
Yeah.
I'm like,
you're not even getting paid. I mean, there's value. Kevin Hart famously, actually, I remember this story about Kevin Hart. I used to know the guys at Caroline's in New York, where he used to drive from Philly and do his shows at Caroline's, work it, brand new kid doing it. Stay after every show. He talked to every single person in the crowd. He would get their contact. He started a mailing list first, I think. Then he started a social media list when that came out, right? And I think he's famously, you probably know this, one of the first studio deals he did. They're like, all right, you post about the movie, and they say, whoa, these are he just worked a decade or however long developing his people, his fans. He's like, that's money. He's like, you want me to promote your movie? He's like, he kind of changed that model, I think. It was him and The Rock maybe first were the ones like really doing it. We're like, oh, no, here's my money for the movie. Here's the money for the social if you want me to promote it. Because think about it, with stand-up, I mean, it's a grind. Every fan you get likes your comedy, likes what you're doing. It's like a grind. It's person to person at shows and online.
Yeah.
It's literally like, so he kind of started that in a way that I think is the model for all of us now. It's like, keep growing. And you got a great following. You got people liking what you're doing, man. It's good to see.
Yeah, it's good to see. I need more people to for the shows to stick. I get a lot of females that come to my show thinking that something they want something to happen between me and them.
You got to use that, man. Not a lot of comedians can pull the sexy thing. You got to use that and abuse it.
That's why I wear cardigans, man. It balances out my sexiness. It makes me look more humble. But you know, it's interesting. It's fun. It is harder because a lot of comics are posting their comedy online to, I do it. So, we get these views or whatever, but then sometimes people will have already heard a lot of our material. Mm-hmm. So that's when you start to, the more crowd work you do, the bigger your social media can blow up from the crowd work.
Yeah. You think? I mean, it's a different time. I just committed to posting more on TikTok every day, just crowd moments, because I'm trying to grow. But I also am not that territorial about material anymore, because the way I see it is like it's a different generation. It's disposable. So like even if you post, I know one comic, I've seen his one joke every other week for like 6 months. Like it's a growing thing now. It's disposable. You saw it this day, you throw it away. The next time you do something, new people see it. So, but I used to be very territorial about what I shared. Now I'm like, I don't care anymore. Like I just want to grow, and hopefully my material is going to only morph in a year. Like I'm trying to write more. I know you had a writing session earlier, so I'm sure you're writing a lot.
I'm writing on me and my writing scripts. Yeah, it's getting ready for this old crazy strike to be over.
Smart. To be prepared, Be
prepared, I'm in a writing program right now, and it's called Black Boy, Black Girl Writes, where they putting people of color, black people, in writers' rooms.
Nice.
So the goal is to just put my story out there.
Yeah.
And I also look at the things that's happened to me in my life as something that I will be able to pull from, so that I'm able to tell more people.
Totally. Well, you have it, man. I mean, I've only seen you perform a couple of times just last week, and you're just so genuine and real and having so much fun. I always watch other comics, and I don't watch like, some people could be competitive. I really feel like a student. I think I'm always going to feel like a student. I love seeing other comics be like, oh, that guy does that well. That guy does that. That girl did that. Oh, I like that. I want to try and do that more in my set. You are having so much fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a big part of this business, specifically stand-up, we get so in our heads with our material and we just want to do well.
Yeah.
But I try and tell myself every show, have fun. And I watched you the other night when you were hosting a show, the night before you did a set. You're having fun, man. And you know your stuff's funny, but even if you went up there knowing it wasn't, you're just having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, I think that's such a big part of this. And I want to play for everybody. This was something on YouTube I saw from a couple months ago. What was this? Was this a special?
This is Don't Tell Comedy. So Don't Tell, they film some of their comedians. They do like these. You never done a Don't Tell show, huh?
No, I've heard of them, but I've never done one.
You got to roll with me. They pack out. They 75 to 150 people, best audiences.
Cool.
And after you do so many, they kind of like vote on like which comic should we have, film or whatever
great.
the process
That's
is.
great.
And this is what this is from. Don't Tell Comedy and filming that.
Awesome. Let's take a look at it. Greg, you just hit 4 on the board for this. Here we go. Don't Tell Comedy. Willie Macc.
People like playing with me because I wear glasses, and glasses make me look safe. It's just glasses and a cardigan. Oh my God! White folks love this look. When I found out I was going west of Sepulveda, I went in the back of the closet like.
That's what I mean. See? I love that.
They love this. I know what glasses make me look like. If I take my glasses off and look at everybody like this. Yeah. It's this angry black guy that's on stage. But if I keep this face and put my glasses on, now I look like I'm thinking about something. Still saying angry black guy.
Yeah, bro. See, you're just having a good time. I love to see that.
In this particular clip, I had a soda in my pocket that I didn't even know that I had until like late. Yeah, it'll be shown like further down. Like I think it's like halfway through. Like if you speed through.
Let's look. You feel funny about it? You're like, I don't. Oh, I think I see it right there.
Yeah, it's in there. But then I pull it out because I'm like, oh shit, that's where my drink went. And I was just like, like you're saying, I'm up there having the freaking time of my life, and I'm just, yeah.
Oh, here it is. Hold on, I want to see this. Dude, you look great. This is awesome. Watch this, guys.
You know why else I like wearing cardigans? I kept my drink in here the whole. This is a utility cardigan. One of one.
See, yeah, but that's what I mean. You're so in the moment with your material. I think that's a really great skill set you've either developed or it's natural to you now. You're just having a blast. That's great, man.
And I think that's important for a lot of. I'm gonna speak for myself. I'm gonna say for comedians, but as a comic myself, I was like, what is gonna make me stand out versus all the other comedians that's out here? And one, beside the material that is, a lot of it is relating to me and my life, but also there's this fun aspect to it. And when you're in the moment and having fun, you can interject jokes that you might have written, but people won't know that it was already written, pre-written. So like if I sit, people have already heard so many, it's hard dating. People know what's gonna probably come, blah, 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 blah. And you might have your own it's hard dating bit. Or people have heard so many things so many times from so many comedians over the years. Like once upon a time, 50s, 60s, you could just do one of those, me and Martha went to the da-da-da, do-do-do-do-do-do, boom. It was just it. And people loved it. We'll watch some of that stuff now and be like, God, that's what comedy was back then.
Yeah.
Then in the 70s, 80s, it started to get a little bit more raw. But after a point, everything's kind of been said.
Sure.
Like I'll tell a joke about my son and be like, yeah, it's hard raising a kid because of this, and that. Somebody be like, oh, such and such said that back in the 90s. I'm like, do you think he's the only person that's dealing with a badass kid? So now what can I do to make myself stand out even more than the material that, because if I talk about smoking a cigar, somebody got to smoke. I dated this white chick. Oh, here's another black guy that dated a white chick. So now I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be in the moment, so people feel like I came up with this stuff.
That's great.
On the spot. So I'm like, "Are y'all a couple? Yeah, we're a couple. I would. You look like a chick that I dated before. Boom, going into my dated joke right there.
If we're doing our jobs well, everything seems like we're just having a good time up there, and we're just rattling off, and you don't know what was written, what wasn't.
And I'm writing as I'm up on stage.
Yeah, that's great too.
In my head, I'm like, okay, what joke can I do next? Like, I have certain bullet points. I'm like, all right, that comedian said something like this and it didn't work, so now I'm gonna rearrange. I'm gonna take that out and maybe say it. I'm doing this the entire time I'm up there.
I think that's such a part of the job. I've just learned as I've done it for a few years, like the kind of studying of the room and the night. It's like so much. It's honestly a lot of mental work. Like, you're just kind of like, what's going on? And I feel like I have the worst shows when I don't pay attention. I'm just like, I show up and I'm like, ah, la, la, and I'll make a joke. Happened in New York actually last show. Where, like, I made a joke about the one guy who was being loud in the crowd. It turned out like he like said a death threat to somebody the set before. The whole crowd hated him, but I missed it. So I went up there. I was like, "Oh, this guy's funny," and like I was just reacting in my moment. So it's like, understanding the overall night. That's what's so fun about it, man. I'm inspired by the way you work, because it's like you're doing the thing, you get great material, but you're having so much fun, and you're very present, and you're in the moment, and you're writing the moments that will hit. Like, I'm trying to do that now with the crowd too. Like, hey, how long you guys been together? Well, my marriage, and to your point about everything being said, no one said your story, no one said mine, and that's what's fun about this too.
Yeah,
like, only we can do our material.
Only us,
and only your material is going to get you a show.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like, if you're not going to pretend to be someone you're not, I think the authenticity thing is so real with you that you're just on your way, man. It's happening.
It's gonna happen.
It's happening, bro.
It's happening.
Before I get you into an ice box and cool you down, I do want to make sure people know all of your work. I feel like I see you in commercials every day.
Yeah.
So look out for Willie in every commercial. It seems like.
Commercial.
Are you just did you hit a stride with commercials where they were like, this is the guy?
I am that. I'm one of the few working commercial actors. Like, there's a group of us, but yeah, I'm one of the go-tos that people kind of look for. Like,
totally.
If you know that I'm coming in the room, you know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
I just get commercials. Commercials is just something that I just learned. I understand it. I've done maybe a little over. I've done over 50 national commercials.
Damn.
And and like I said, got more coming on the way.
That's great.
Is low key part of it is the glasses. I had a casting director tell me, I took a casting director's class, and he was like, Willie, you got this amazing look, blah, 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 blah. He's like, but if you want to start booking more commercials, here's what you're gonna have to do. And I remember hearing it. And if he said it now to the crowd, to the students, somebody probably would have got offended, and maybe I should have, but I want money, so I'm like, let's hear. He said, you're gonna have to take the baritone out your voice, and you're going to have to talk a little bit you're gonna have to talk faster, and maybe put some glasses on. And I said, and I remember saying in the class, I'm like, so what? You want me to act white? And, got a little chuckle from the class. But he said, yeah, if you want to book. Whoa. And I said, what? He said, you have to understand this, Willie. All the production companies are mainly white. All the directors, mainly white. The advertisers are mainly white. The clients are mainly white. He was like, so when they're writing these copies and they're going back and forth and they're reading it to themselves, and it's months of, like a commercial copy takes like 4 months for it to go from idea to, and they hearing it, they hear themselves.
Yeah.
They're seeing themselves in it.
Yeah.
So they're like, all right, hey, can you read this with me? And so they hear that. They don't hear, hey, I love this Coca-Cola. They hear, I love this Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
They hear that. So I had to learn how to become a little cardigan-y and glasses to soften my look and to soften my voice and to soften my appeal so that I'm able to do more commercials and become more of a commercial talent.
That's so interesting and smart. Also, it's funny how you kind of make fun of basically what happened to you with commercials with your stand-up.
That's exactly where that glasses bit
off.
come from.
Yeah, that bit's perfect.
That's where that came from.
That's really what happened in your career. Mm-hmm. It is interesting, too, and kind of messed up that's kind of what has to happen for you to get the roles. I mean, it has to change a little bit, right?
They're changing, but it's not real.
Yeah. That's wild. But I also think you don't seem disingenuous by this look. It seems like maybe Like
It works, and I like it.
But wait, your old school friends from home, do they think
They
you've
clown
shifted?
me.
I was gonna say, do they think
They call me Hollywood?
Yeah.
They get them. I still have a friend that still wears FUBU to this day.
Also, you losing the big hair too,
Yeah.
because like I feel like that's something like you had that from home.
I had that. I had an afro for most of my life. I shot a Credit Karma commercial, and they cut my hair in the commercial.
Oh, cool.
And so I was like, let me just keep it cut for like a year. Let me see what happens. So that's where my fro is right now. So I'm like, I got maybe another 4 months to just really like, is this something I want to do, or do I want to grow my afro back?
Yeah.
So that's the stage that I'm at right now.
I mean, you get to decide. You're also working enough. I think in the commercial world, people know you now. You've made a reputation. I'm sure you could even maybe morph more if you wanted at this point.
Yeah.
Because you've gotten the work for so long, you know?
Yep.
Any crazy things that have happened from commercial work? Like, has your face been on a bus or anything like wild like that? Or?
I think one of the coolest commercials that I think I've ever done is I was the face of this brand called Pump Water down in New Zealand. We shot it in Sydney, Australia. So they flew me down to Sydney,
Cool.
shot it. So my face was on the buses. We shot a bunch of ads. People dressed up as me for Halloween. And so I thought that was pretty cool to be like a spokesperson for that brand, and then see the photos and the people like, I'm the Pump Water guy. And I think so in New Zealand, if you follow rugby, the New Zealand rugby team is called the All Blacks. And I remember going down there while we was filming in, like I said, in Sydney. And I guess the New Zealand's football team was over, or rugby team was over there playing, and everybody was wearing shirts that says All Blacks, All Blacks, All Blacks. And I was like, yeah, like I'm like, this is the most wokest area in the entire world. And then something that I remember the director was like, Willie, that's the football team's name. I was like, that's what's up.
It's funny. That's awesome, man. I don't want to just talk about your commercial work. I do also want to mention, your acting work. You've been in so many things. You also started in reality TV, right? Was that where you started?
I started in reality TV. It was a show on BET called College Hill.
Yeah.
It was the BET version of The Real World. So they took 4 people from the Los Angeles and 4 people from the Virgin Islands, and we shot there in the Virgin Islands. Actually, I'll be in the Virgin Islands next week doing a comedy show.
Oh, that's cool.
St. Thomas. And so, yeah, that was a fun time. Those were some fun time. We were the first black reality show. Mm-hmm. So before all the Love and Hip Hops and the blah, 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 it was us.
Yeah.
So we shot to superstardom really fast, and it was amazing. It was amazing. I remember running into like Beyonce at the BET Awards, and like she knew who I was. Janet Jackson.
Wow.
Me and Jermaine Dupri were cool at one point. Back when Chris Brown and Rihanna were together. Like, I remember I was at the mall one time, and this big ass 6'6" black guy comes up to me. He's like, Willie Macc. And I'm like, shit. And I'm like, hopefully, in my head, I was wilding out a little bit. So in my head, I was like, oh man, hopefully I didn't mess with this dude's chick or something. That's the first thing that came to my mind. And he's like, Willie. I said, yeah, man, what's up? He was like, Lil Jon watches you all the time on the tour bus.
Wow.
And I was like, what? He was like, Lil Jon watches you. He's like, yeah, I'm his personal security or whatever. And he loves College Hill.
Damn.
I was like, shut up. So it was a very fun time. And the reason I kind of even got into stand-up was because of that, because I was goofy on College Hill. I was the clown. And I remember doing a lot of radio interviews, and people was like, you funny on the show, man. Tell us a joke, Willie. And I never had a joke. So the very first joke I ever wrote in my entire life, 2007, was I wrote a joke. What was it? I said, I'm new to LA. Since I've been here, I got shot at 3 times. My place got broken into and my car got stolen. But I got that taken care of, and I broke up with that chick. That was the very first joke that I ever wrote.
That's great. And the joke still holds up. It's great to see you continue to write jokes, man. It's good to see you continue to do your thing. Guys, If you haven't followed Willie, make sure you follow him at Willie Macc everywhere, 2 C's. Go see him on the road. Man, you're such a real one. I'm so grateful you were here today. Thank you guys for listening, for watching, subscribing. We're having real chats every week right here, so come on back. Willie, you're the man. See you guys.